Hello, how are you feeling? Good? I feel a little bit nervous, but now I have to talk about nobody wants to speak about what is being hidden. All of this started because we service people that were bad after a Bufo or ayahuasca intake or any other substance. As the time went by, I always told Mario, look at this case. And I would like to be very clear on this. Everything that I'm going to be talking about in this session is not to judge any practitioner. And by the way, I'm not intending to mention them, but what we notice is that outside there are so many people looking for a healing. And they reach out to us because of this type of popular advertisement saying you are going to find the light and love, and all of a sudden they didn't find those things. And in most of the cases, they blame practitioners because they say, he has something that made me crash with him. But from the beginning, we are not providing the full information that this is not a magic wand. And that for me, very respectful, this is not a medicine. This is a tool that is going to help us to connect and as well to being responsible. And then what happens with the cases that we received? We saw 1, 2, 3 cases, and as the time went by, my house, which is of course your house, it becomes a hospital. And by the way, the people that know me, they know that the hospital is my house. I have people there that are damaged because they took toad, and then we started looking at the fact that so many of them, they stay trapped in a feeling, in a sensation that may be spiritual, or as you may call it, but when they come back here, they are not themselves. And that's when we started noticing about the danger of not being responsible and using this tool to evade from our reality. And there are so many people that are doing that. And currently, there are people that talk to me and they ask, Beto, how I know that if my toad intake was correctly done? And I said, well, for me, you would have to answer these 3 questions. Three simple questions. Do you know who you are? Do you know what you need to do? And do you know how you're going to do it to obtain those things? 95% of people don't answer that. And they're only staying with the experience of feeling nice things. And the most dangerous thing is that as the time went by, they start dividing the human experience and they say, the only way in which I could feel love is smoking toad. And that's the saddest thing. Because then we're going to be trapped into a trick. I was a little bit disappointed because in my house, so other colleagues, practitioners meet together from many places and they say, Beto, how incredible is it that with this tool, we may get away from the control of churches and religions. And I said, well, and what's the difference that there is of praying to a cross or to a toad? I didn't understand that. People are looking for this so-called lighting moment, evolution, and I think that they think that evolution is to get rid of the body and to go somewhere, and what was about just to get rid of our fears of becoming a human. How so many people talk to me and they say, well, this place, it's very dense and I don't want to be here. And in my house, I've had people with severe traumas that they are sure that they come from other part, and when they are there with me. I have talked to Mario saying, hey, I have someone that they say, if you are not going to be here, I'm going to jump and I'm going to throw out of a window. I'm going to like to die. And they say, well, just get rid of them. But if I do that, I won't learn about this. And as well as receiving some cases of people with this disembodiment. And what is this disembodiment? Well, this tool goes directly to the mind, to block the mind so we could have a connection with the spirit. If you use a lot of medicine, you go to this place, so when you arrive here, as the mind cannot stand that place, it's going to shut down. And what happens when you go back here? You don't know who you are. And that's where we have the dangerous part, because then just self-deceit, saying, well, I feel that I'm lighter, I feel better with myself, but they got isolated from their families, or they went to a hill to hug a tree. And I say, when are you going back with your families to hug your family, your parents, and to work with all of the things that you left behind and that left blocked? So in a way, this has a solution. In fact, by the way, everything has a solution. But the dangerous thing is that while we want to go deeper in a process that is not going to be a human process, then you're gonna lose this path. The day before yesterday, someone that took medicine told me, Beto, do you recommend the experience of toad to people? And I said, no. And this person asked, but you just administer toad, right? And the only experience that I recommend is the experience of life, and nobody wants to use that. The toad is a tool that is going to help you to connect with yourself, and in that case you're going to be noticing what's happening, but it wouldn't be worthy to use a tool to continue evading from yourself. The vision that I had, and it was very notorious, is that, I don't know if you remember, but so many years ago, garbage that we generated was thrown away to a hole. Well, this was done by the government, and then they just put some land over it. So as the time went by, they noticed that this was like a focus of infection. There was nothing growing there, and then the authorities from all of this planet notice that it's not about just burying this garbage under the land, because you're going to be damaging the planet. So they decide to divide garbage and as well to process this garbage to avoid having more of it. And I currently see people that are using toads just to bury their dark places. And while they would like to bury these dark places, then there is going to start experiencing this moment that they would not stand, because all of this anger and sadness and all of those feelings, they're going to go away through the pores of the skin. And although you just apply some layer of light, that's not the way of solving this. We have to be responsible and to working with this darkness. It's our own darkness, and everybody is afraid of this. I'm not telling you to be a dark being, but why denying this and why judging ourselves in that way? Because that's the first step of the lack of coherence, because that's what we are, light and dark. And so many things that I've seen related to people that are damaged is because sometimes they abuse of this medicine. And there are people telling me, once I receive someone, I ask what happened, who gave you this medicine, just to try to know their background. And they say, most of them, they say, I had to take it twice, and in the second one, yes, I had this journey, because the first one I was here and I was telling them, I don't understand how. And they say, yes, in fact, I don't remember anything. And my answer was, for you, do you think that the right way of taking a toad is just to not knowing anything. That's why you're here. That's why you're visiting me, because somebody told me. The thing is that you have a very big ego. We have to get rid of it. It's amazing. It's so surprising the lack of information that we have outside, we have in all of the different places. And some other things that happens with these tools is that all of us that has worked with this tool, this is going to open some doors. And when we open doors, some beings may enter. And for a long time, I've been keeping this secret. I've worked with so many exorcisms of people that took this medicine from the toad and one entity enters to their bodies. Luckily enough, the shamans or practitioners, they've they have been humble to tell me and to ask for support. They say, we need your help, something happened, and we've been working with them. This hasn't stopped. And as we still saw all of these cases, I received another case, and at that time as well, I contacted Mario and I told him, I need you to come here and to see this, because it's not fair for me that the practitioner said, well, this is your problem. This is the problem that you have. Of course, this person had a problem. But if we're going to support them using a tool like this, how can we help them to leave that place? It's not only like, hey, there's a door, go there. It's not human to say, well, go there, and if you find something, fight against it or solve it. We are here to help people in this journey. So in this last case, well, of course, this wasn't the last case, because after this case, I received some other cases. But we asked the permit. We asked for the permit. I asked Mario and I told him, you have to see what's happening. We have to be responsible. All of us should be responsible, because in a certain way, we still say that the solution is to go to the light. And I'm very surprised how we are falling in a self-deceit where this joy and love is somewhere else in some other place but within ourselves. So this image that in the first Holocaust, they just put all of these people within concentration camps. For me, this is another Holocaust where they are sending people to another dimension, to try themselves, to not living as human beings. And it's very dangerous, because that's the beginning of a fight or a struggle where part of a being wants to be here and another one that doesn't. And the part that doesn't want to be here is the one that doesn't be responsible for the things that are happening. So in that time that Mario came, luckily enough, as well, David was with us, and they helped us with a process. And I told Mario, I want you to see this, because I need your help to help them, because this help, it's not only to light on the pipe. This could be done by anybody. And that's why Mario, that day, he recorded part of an exorcism. That exorcism lasted for 5 days. That person was in my house the first day Mario was there, and as well David. That thanks to them, we did it. But I would like to show you a little bit of what nobody's noticing. For this, I need that please nobody record this with the cell phone, and I need cameras to be addressed to this place. This is just an example of what happens, and nobody is noticing. Nobody is finding out about this. Please don't record what we're going to be showing in the screen. It's only with the purpose of sharing information. Well, that has been happening for so many times. And that's why, for me, it's very delicate and sensitive and dangerous the way in which it's being done. This topic, the topic of this tool, because yesterday I listened to someone saying that, is that a tool or is that a medicine? Well, if this is a medicine, could you please explain what happened there? The thing is that we're not open to understand, to really understand that this is a tool that if it's used in the wrong way, it's going to take us to some other place. And the human beings are more disconnected from this experience because they are finding new ways of evading from their self. We have people that heal, that they have a very good healing process because they are responsible. And as practitioners, we should provide all of this information for the people not to get lost, because when the toad is given the responsibility, they said, well, I didn't know that I have to change so many things. I want to go back to my first version, to my original version. And I won't agree with this, because today we have people that recommend, once you feel bad again, come back with me, and you know that you once smoke, if you smoke, you could go back to this place. It doesn't matter if you are not with your family or with your children, but you are going to feel better. And what is this about? I feel that again, we are making mistakes. We are taking the sacred element to what it's really sacred, which is life. And now we're taking it to a different level with this tool, and we are giving all of our power. And it's not only to this tool, but as well to the people that is facilitating this service. We should be learning to be more human and to acknowledge that there are so many things to do here, starting with ourselves. I thought that if I wanted to have living beings, I have to feed my ego to compare with it and then just to heal people. But if I wanted to be free, then I would have to experience the opportunity to be human and to love other people, and that's how I'm going to be closer to God. I'm here to share all of this, all of the things that I've seen, what I know, to help you, all of you. But it's important to open our eyes and to see that this tool, it's a double-sided tool. And it's a double-sided tool because if you place it in the wrong position, you're gonna damage ourselves. Last year, I talked about the ego, which is we need to acknowledge the part of ourselves that is like that to start changing what is needed. But if you think that in order to tune or modify a car that we receive, we have to hit this car, and after we destroy it, to build it again, it's going to be a longer path. It's going to be easier just to review the area that we have to work with in a very careful process and then to repair it. We're talking about this because people have to be aware that by energy, if you are not ready, you could not use this tool. And all of the exorcisms that for me, they are not exorcism, those are release that we've done. We do this without medicine. We do it without medicine. And it's proof that the only tool that may free those beings are love. And I see so many people that would like to give all of this heat of light to those beings. And then I ask myself, and where's the love that you are teaching? And each one of us is learning something. And please know that if you need something, I'm here. I'm available for you. And it's important not to lose ourselves from the right path, which is life. There's no shortcuts to reach out to God. Thank you very much. I was shocked by your presentation. Thank you very much. So the person that gave told to this woman what happened, what were his mistakes, and what happened with this person afterwards. Well, there's an interview at Mario's channel. She explains everything that she experienced. She's doing well, thanks God, and thanks to the fact that she worked a lot with this. What happened is that there's something very interesting. For me, this medicine that is well used is to give you the opportunity to know yourself. Why am I saying this? Because there are so many people saying, well, I listen to a voice, like a weird voice, and I feel something weird. But as you don't know yourself, you know exactly what are you talking about or about whom. For example, she talked to me because as most of the people that in despair, they reach out to us. And this was done in distance. She comes from Guadalajara. And we noticed because she said, I have some very weird thoughts and my skin is becoming dry, very, very dry after the toad. And just watch out what I'm going to tell you. She already had these entities, but the toad gave them some power. So these entities used the toad, and from the toad, everything exploded. These released lasted for 5 days, but she was there for more time, and it was like if she was pregnant. So those entities were the one obtaining all of the energy, all of the light from the toad. And in fact, we noticed because, well, that was the first day. Thanks God, that was the most violent day, because the other days there are loving days, and that's where I've proven this, because this is not the first time that I do it. How to work with love, just with love. And of course, when you don't have love, you have to use an external tool. But if you have love, then you are the true channel and the true tool to help.
So this is what happened with this person, and we realized that every time she was sitting, she just went away. This person had more than 20 entities or personalities. We took off 12 in sacred space in which I'm allowed to work, because before the toad, I used to do some other things, because I don't like being compared like I'm just a toad practitioner. Actually, I use some other tools. Of course, I very respectfully use the toad, but for me, it's not a solution to life problems. The real tool is the one that you have inside yourself, but you've just not given yourself the chance to discover it and to use it. Is this possible to, I mean, can anybody experience what this lady just did, just in the first time she used the toad? Yes, this is why I'm saying that I've done I've used previous tools before the toad. And this is why I think practitioners should know different tools, because the persons that come with me passed through a practitioner or a shaman. So in my case, if somebody wants to try this tool, and I'm saying a tool, again, with me, I will not give it to you just because you're asking. So first of all, we're going to do some exercises to know who you are, and so that we can establish a more calm channel. Anybody else? Hello, brother. My question is, under which conditions, what you were mentioning, like when somebody gets to you and asks you for the medicine, let's say you interview this person, who this person is, why he or she needs the medicine. So under which circumstances that you observe, you can say to somebody, no. Well, actually, what happens here, I have my own way to work. So first, I tune them in without the toad. So I can feel them. If a person is scared, the last thing I will say is just, oh God, just relax. You have to learn to be at the place of this person. But if you do not know how to use the feeling of this person, you're just saying like the facade of this person, and you're just saying like, oh, this person is just afraid. No, wait a little bit. You have to say, where does it stem from? And if you just go deeper, I mean, you have to be skillful enough to realize what is happening inside this person. So I've just received like santeros and every kind of person. Some of the people here have done some sessions with me without the toad, and they have just been as connected as with the toad. And this is the way I work, because in this way I realize, how can we work? Do you need the tool or not? A last question, very quickly, brother. Regarding the practitioner, I've also heard and been in touch with other practitioners. In my own experience, I could say that maybe the majority of the people are nervous and afraid, and I always tell people that when you don't know something, it's just natural, it's normal to be a little bit afraid. So as you were just saying, you have to know where does it come from, how deep it is. So in my own experience, I've seen people really scared. So I talk to this person, I calm them a little bit, and they have a healing, a beautiful experience. And some days after, I always try to give a follow-up to these people, like next day, 3 days after, 5 days after, so that I can see how they get reintegrated into life. But my question is more focused on, like, you were saying that a practitioner has to be well prepared and to be vibrating and like in tune, so that he or she can facilitate the medicine with all the love and all the things that this person has to give. So what happens when a person, because I've seen people that have the best will but don't have enough experience, and when they're like with activations, where the medicine may be very painful, but with a follow-up, medicine will show more later on. And at the end of the day, the experience will be good. It will be a good life experience. So maybe they will tell us later, okay, so I got it. I understood it now. So the majority of the people tell us, like, it's about me. I just had a reactivation of the medicine. I wasn't allowing the message to be conveyed, and now I got it. And sometimes we just get attached to the idea of the practitioner not doing things okay, but maybe it is the person that is not having maybe a good experience, to put it that way. So which is the scope of the practitioner's work? Because out of 5 persons, maybe one will have a bad experience, to call it that way, but I cannot say that it is the practitioner's fault. Yes, of course, and I immediately get the image of a doctor of a ICU, and who has like a patient, and then the patient goes out of the ICU, and then the patient gets into shock, and the doctor says like, oh, okay, but he's not in my unit anymore, so it's not my problem anymore. And no, it shouldn't be this way. He is a doctor, he is a physician, and this is why he is a physician. So let's put the things clear. You are co-responsible of these as practitioners. So if people tell you that things went badly, I've seen a pattern. These people that have bad experience are the ones that grow more. So I was invited to my son's school to talk about plants and all this. He's 8 years old, and he showed me a jar, with a bean germinating. So remember this experiment at school? You grow a plant in a baby food jar. So there was one plant that was growing in this jar, and there was another bean seed with water inside a shoebox. When I saw this one, it grew twice than the plant that was outside. I asked, like, why? So the answer was the outside plant was a lazy plant, just receiving all the sunlight. But the one inside the box was fighting to get some light. So this is like his effort was twice the one of the other plant. So it grew and grew and grew. So they're setting us the example of when they need light, they need to make an effort to get this sunlight. So it seems like it is necessary for us to go through darkness, to go and look for the light, to grow. So sometimes some brothers tell me, like, it's just about the light. But I'm like, I'm sorry, brother, but I don't share this opinion. Once we were like among the nature, and my brother was telling me, like, this is light, this is nature. And I was like, no, don't get it wrong. If you just make a hole, if you dig, it's going to be dark, it's going to be wet, it's going to be cold. But darkness is not wrong, and life is happening there, and we are labeling and auto-punishing us. ¿Podrías, por favor, darnos un...
He needs the earphones.
Sorry. Soy medio güey para el inglés. Prometo estudiar. ¿Quién chingados?
Or just translate for me, please.
Sharing some of your other tools and techniques that you use that are not an entheogenic, that are non-entheogenic, other tools and techniques. Please.
¿Qué? Sí, claro. Es que exactamente estoy aquí.
Yes, of course, and actually I'm here for sharing. So, of course, it's not about being competitive. When I first started with this, I used to go and chat with the practitioners, and they were like, oh, you're telling me, you're judging my work and everything, and it's not about this. It would be just absurd and silly to be a toad practitioner, because this is like putting me apart from my life. I'm a father. I want to enjoy my family, my children, and I'm repairing people that took the toad with somebody else. So explaining into detail is a little bit complicated. There are some people here in the room that took the toad with me, but basically what I am doing is the post-medicine, which is integrating the toad tool. So what I do is to teach them how to listen to themselves so that they don't have to depend or rely on me or on the toad. So post-medicine is the most important thing for me, integration. And let me set an example, because I'm so used to welcome people that just had a very bad ayahuasca or toad experience. So once I welcomed this person at home, and I started with my protocol. Please tell me how did you do it, when, who gave it to you. So this person started to tell me that his experience was great, and I was like, well, that's weird, because normally I just have the ones that didn't enjoy the experience. So I asked, why are you here? And he told me, actually, because I've been told that people who had a bad experience came here with you. So I talked to Beto, and I asked again, how do you feel now after the toad? And this person told me, I feel so peaceful and so calm. And when I asked, what are you going to do with all this calm and peace? And he didn't know what to say. And I told him, it's like winning the lotto. Like you just had millions of dollars and you have no idea what to do with all this money. What's the point? It's just useless to be an architect and not building something. What's the point of connecting with love without converting it? So post-medicine for me is a tool to teach people how to understand their process. So what I would like to do is to make a video with training. I don't know exactly what, but I'm here to share this with all of you, with all of those willing to learn this. So I promise to you that I will look the way to do this. I know some people are coming to me, and I'm glad to share my experiences with you. This is why I'm here, because actually something that I realized is that this toad world is being contaminated. And it was so clear for me. I immediately saw all these images from movies, like every time people wanted to unbury a treasure, they were cursed. Why? And this is the thing, what's happening with the toad, because it's generating ego. They want control, and this is why treasures are buried.
My question is about kind of root cause in terms of someone who may take on the experience of a negative energy or an entity, and that from my view and my experience and the work that I do, there's always some trauma in the system. There's always some experiences, often early in life, that set up some feelings or some beliefs, negative beliefs, that began a self-sabotaging process that allowed the person to feel at some point helpless, hopeless, powerless, and then they allowed their energy to be taken over by another power, another energy. So I just would ask you to address that aspect of the root cause of a person who may take on an energy or an entity like that, because we're going to find those people showing up who I use a participation form, and I ask people to fill out, like, do you have psychological disorders? Do you have this and do you that? But it still doesn't screen out traumas necessarily, or the things that people have repressed that are in their unconscious. You follow me? Yeah? And so then, so even though my best intention as a practitioner and working as a doctor of Chinese medicine for 40 years or so, and then working with other medicine for more than 20 years, and host ceremonies and have other practitioners come from other parts of the world and lead ceremonies, there's always been this place where there's always this risk that there can be one person who lies to get into the ceremony, who's not honest with the practitioners because they want that medicine or they want that thing, is going to heal them. So if you could please address that deeper aspect of this, please. Thank you.
Ok, bueno.
Curiosamente, por ejemplo, cuando
Well, it's funny because when I get to share this tool, I'm the first person to tell, with me, you will not go to the island of light, to the seventh galaxy. If you really want to heal, you need to get prepared, because I'm not a tour guide. And I've also heard, like, how long are you willing to, how much time are you going to give to a patient? Well, it all depends on the patient. And in the room, we have a person that had a bad experience, and this person stayed 1 month in my house with suicidal tentatives. And so you can ask her directly, because for me the most important thing is that if you really want to serve, well, just give love, give your time to the person that needs it. We need to learn to listen to the patient on the one hand, because indeed they can lie us, then they can lie to us, but you know what, they can tell lies to me but not to their own spirits. So this is why I am not okay with taking these tools to just transport ourselves to other places, because it is going to be even more difficult to be here present for this person. So nowadays, if you really want to serve, if you really want to help, you don't even need the toad. Sometimes it's just about love, about helping people to hear, to listen to themselves. And there's so many work to do. And of course, we can share these later on. One question, Beto. How often do you use the medicine? Me, the toad, for myself? No. In a certain way, I was explaining this the other day. Imagine that you're in a race of Formula 1 and you need to go to the pits to get your car repaired because it's broken. But if you want to stay all the time in the pits, you are going to lose the race. So it's up to you how many times you want to go, get a reparation, get fixed, but the real fixture will happen outside. There is another question over here, maybe the last one. It's in English. Hola, Beto. En mi experiencia siento que
one is the mystical experience, and the other side is the energetic therapy. And they're not mutually exclusive, but mutually dependent, in the sense that the caliber of the mystical experience is dependent on the caliber of the energetic therapy. And I feel that many of these spiritual emergencies have a lot of energetic emergencies to it. And I wonder if you guys approach it that way to a certain extent, and if you're open to if there is a medicine that rightfully vetted by the community is very good to heal those energetic injuries, if you would be open to working with it.
Sí, mira, yo una de las cosas que aprendí.
Yes, something that I learned on this matter, and it's what I do with the patients, is I learn to listen to myself and to feel myself. And in this regard, I have the capacity of giving me the opportunity to know if I need some other tools or not. Because I think that there are some other tools that we need to know. But tools, it's just like any tool, any mechanical tool. Once you you work with a screwdriver, you're not going to screw all the time. If you have the screwdriver holding it with your hand all the time, you are getting handicapped because you cannot use that hand. So we need to learn how to energetically work with these tools, but the most important for me is to get it rooted. Why? Why and rooting? Because if not, confusion will arrive. And I will repeat this. Some months ago, I went with some of my colleagues to give a talk, and I had a lot of time to talk. So I told them that as a child, I had already this that I have today and I'm working with, but I hadn't had the capacity or the skill of seeing things, because this is very dangerous. Because it's like the equivalent of seeing, I mean, we know how to see with these eyes, but imagine I'm just going to give you some binoculars. So you put them the other way around. So you will see that the closest objects will be far. So if you put the tool inside out, what was a reality will not appear as a reality to you anymore, and you will get confused. So this is why we need to be enrooted, to understand everything that is happening. Just a question, Beto. Not only about the Bufo, but when people are taking recreational or ayahuasca, mushrooms, Bufo, what's your opinion? Like when they're like, I want to go up and give thanks. And they're like, no, brother, it's not only about having a beer when you're not okay, but you have to give thanks because you're doing good. And it's like an excuse to go up there. So what's your opinion? Because I've heard people saying that you have to go up and give thanks because your life is doing good. And I mean, what do you think? Well, I think that we all have the opportunity to give thanks as you wish. But it's like going up to the mountain. The day you climb the mountain, you will not have a lot of air. And then if you see downwards, you will see the village in which you were happy with everybody, and you'll say like, oh, okay, so I belong there, I should be there, I was happy there. Thank you very much.
So there is a break.
Bueno, tenemos un
10 minutes break. Next at 5:20, Fernando Suarez he's going to speak about the legal, de los aspectos legales de la medicina internacionalmente, ¿no? De todos los que compartimos y hemos estado en algún otro país compartiendo, para quien quiera escuchar su plática aquí mismo a las 5:20 con Fernando Suárez, por favor.